Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and today's cards are part of a blog hop to celebrate Simon Says Stamp's fun and festive release. So I will have a link to all of that in the description box below my video. So to start off today's cards, I am using the brand new Big Picture Book Wafer dies. This is the KOALA one, and I die cut him from some gray cardstock and then ran the die through my machine with scraps of black and pink cardstock. So I've got the little black pieces for his nose and his eyes, and then the pink pieces for the insides of his ears. And before I finished adhering everything, I just started with the eyes and the nose, and I put washi tape on the back of the main piece and then just stuck the little pieces in place. And then I just took some distress ink in Hickory Smoke just to kind of deepen them and give them a little bit more depth and dimension. And I did the same thing with the ears, while again the centerpiece was just still there, just kind of held in place. Didn't matter if it came out or not because I wasn't going to use the gray piece. You totally kind of could with these. It depends on, you know, the look you're going for. But I always like adding pink for the ears. I think it's cute. So I sponged the little head in the ears, and then the body is the new picture book big body that I showed in my release and review video, and I just think it's so cute. So I did the exact same thing. I sponged it. I even stuck the sticky note that I was using. That was just to prevent my fingertips from leaving any marks, but I, you know, inserted that beneath the little openings for the arms so I could sponge those as well. And then once that was all done, I'm going to adhere everything else together with more washi tape. So one thing I'm kind of really loving about these big picture book dies is that if you have trouble dealing with really small die cuts like the original picture book characters, I know some people were saying like they're so small. I love them. I absolutely love them. But this is a nice way to have, not to be dealing with such small pieces. So I find the easiest way to adhere them is I just flip them over and stick them together with washi tape and they're good to go. So I did that with the KOALA, and then I set them aside and I die cut some light green cardstock with the second largest of the Simon Says Stamp Basic Rectangles wafer dies. And then I put the new lined circle stencil over it, and I'm just sponging some more distress ink over it because once I get started with the distress inks, I can't stop. So everything gets sponged with distress inks once I start. So I used crushed olive and sponged it onto my background just to give it the, you know, that, again, fun little bit of pattern and texture. And then I'm adhering my little KOALA body and his little head there with liquid adhesive. And once I've got those adhered, I die cut a heart using one of Simon's Nested Hearts wafer dies. Because I thought it'd be really cute to have him holding that little heart, but I wanted to stamp a sentiment on it. So I have the heart and I have some black, just a scrap of black cardstock. And for both of my cards, I'm going to be using sentiments from the new picture book. Well, it's not the picture book, but it's the PUNNY Animals stamp set that's kind of made to go with all these little characters and whatnot. So for this one, it says to a quality friend. So stamp that one and heat embossed it with white embossing powder. On the heart, I stamped a sentiment from the new CZ Design Bestie stamp set because I just thought it was so cute how it said Besties for life. I was like, that's perfect for the center of the heart. So white heat embossed both of those. And then I ended up off camera stamping and heat embossing more sentiments from the Besties stamp set. And then with this heart, I'm also sponging a little ink because, like I said, once you start, you just can't stop. So I used a bit of Warren lipstick ink, and again, using my little sticky note to kind of help hold the smaller piece there while I sponge that ink onto it, just to give it that. It just kind of finishes sometimes. Like, it just depends on my mood. Sometimes I prefer die cuts just as is. Other times, I really like that dimension it gives, and it kind of just finishes off die cuts. Like if they're looking a little flat and, you know, kind of uninteresting, adding that bit of ink can just really kind of liven it up a little bit. So I adhered that little heart under his little hands, paws, whatever you want to call them. Adhered that into place. And then for the card base itself, that is a standard A2 size card, I have the friend sentiment, and that's from the Besties set. I white heat embossed it and then die cut it with its coordinating wafer die. And then I'm going to stamp the rest of the sentiment from the Besties stamp set with black ink on the inside of my card. So it says, "Thank you for being my friend." And then I'm going to adhere that sentiment to the inside of the card. And then for the main panel on both cards, I used Simon's Big Mama foam tape, and just to, you know, pop it up with that little bit of dimension. So I covered the back of that with foam tape, and then I'm going to adhere that into place. So it gives you a better idea of how big these critter dies are on a standard A2 size card. So I had those adhered. I adhered my white Heat Emboss sentiments. And then for these little hearts, I mentioned this in my release and review video, I really love this new watermelon die. I love the little heart seeds in it. I love the shape of it. So I ran it through another time to get some more little pink hearts to add to the background of my card. And I'm just adhering those into place with little like dabs of the liquid adhesive here. So once I get all my little hearts into place, and since there was several that this die cuts out, I used all of them, of course. I adhered several to the outside, and then I adhered a few to the inside of the card as well, just to kind of tie it all together. Thought it'd be really cute to have those little hearts kind of floating around the sentiment on the inside. So once I get those adhered, I also pulled out some crystals, some Studio KOALA crystals from my stash. And I'm just going to adhere those to the outside of the card. And I'm going to do pretty much everything I did on this first card, I did on the second card, which I didn't bother filming because I showed most of the elements of this card in my release and review video. So I had them all sitting here on my desk, and I was like, I don't want to waste these. Like, I need to like actually put them together and make a card out of it. So when I made this one, I was like, well, it's perfect. They can be little, you know, companion cards basically. So I've got all my hearts adhered. I'm going to adhere some of these. These are the Ocean Wave crystals. And same thing, I'm just going to get them into place, and then I'm just going to pick them up with my jewel picker and adhere them. This was Studio KOALA's liquid glue that I've been using. So just put little dabs in that. And again, apologies for my voice. I'm sounding very scratchy. One, it's the middle of the night. And two, I'm still, you know, struggling with this cold. I got hit hard this time, which usually seems to happen to me quite frequently. It's been getting a lot colder out here, so it was only a matter of time. So my last little bit of embellishment with this was to take Nouveau Crystal Glaze and added it to his nose and his little eyes. And then I just take a pin to kind of clean it up, because I sometimes, you know, go outside the lines. If I get any air bubbles, I can quickly remove those with the pin as well. Just making sure everything's good before I set this aside and let this dry overnight. So I did that with this one, and I also do this with the puppy card as well. I just add it to the eyes, the nose, and the little tongue. So I've got my little koala card with a cute little green background. And then for the puppy card, I used the puppy, the same big body wafer die. I used the new tail wafer dies and added a little tail, and there's that watermelon. And this one I did just kind of the like aqua blue sort of background. I used the same sentiment stamp sets and wafer dies. So this one says, "Love you forever." And then, "Hey Bestie." And then I use the same stamps and whatnot on the inside of the card just to kind of keep everything consistent. And like I said, added the crystal glaze to his little eyes and nose and tongue, so they're all glossy, which is just adorable. So that finished off today's cards, and I will have links below the video to my blog post with all of the info. I'll have a supply list with links to everything, so you can check that out below if you are interested. Thank you all so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping and commenting on my videos. I really appreciate it. I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye!